Which TV technology should you get in 2024? Stop the FOMO. You are ready to upgrade your old LCD TV or plasma TV, but the options are overwhelming and quite confusing. OLED, QLED, full array local dimming, MiniLED, edge-lit, direct-lit. What does this all mean? Today, we'll help you navigate through all of this confusing lingo and choose the best TV technology to fit your use case and budget. Remember, just because you paid more does not mean you're getting better. In fact, you may be getting a worse TV because you chose the most expensive one on sale before watching this video. And to help you shorten that shopping list, we'll share our recommended TVs from each technology type. Let's get into it. Today's video is brought to you by WhoKeys. Trying to build a PC on a budget but don't know where to buy your Windows software cheaply? WhoKeys to the rescue. Use my coupon code SF20 and immediate discount with a free upgrade to Windows 11. At the bottom of this order where it says code card, to the right is the product key you need to activate Windows. So copy this long number, then go to the Windows menu and click on Settings. In the Settings menu at the bottom, select Update and Security. Select Activation, then select Change Product Key, paste what you copied from WhoKeys, click Next, click Activate, and you're done. You can buy Windows 11 Pro or Office 2019 Pro with my discount code SF20. Yes, I've been using WhoKeys for the last several years on my own PC builds, and it just works. So many types of TVs to choose from, but did you know that all the TVs you see on Amazon, Best Buy, mom and pop boutique stores like Value Electronics, they're either LCD TVs or OLED TVs. We're excluding plasma TVs because they don't make those anymore, but ultimately you're choosing one of two types of TVs. Then what about edge-lit, direct-lit, QLED, full array local dimming, mini-LED TVs, or W-OLED, MLA, QD-OLED? They are all just variations of the two types of TVs, LCD TVs or OLED TVs. Each variation bringing something slightly different to the table, a different benefit, a different feature. And here's the key, if you know the benefits of each variation, then you'll choose the right variation to match your use case. Taking a car analogy as an example, minivans, SUVs, sports cars, convertibles, they're all cars, but each one has a specific use case. No differently, let's get into each of these variations and see if their use case and their design objectives matches your needs. So let's start with the variations of the LCD TVs to see which one of them matches your needs. We'll begin with the edge-lit backlight technology. So edge lighting gives it the brightness that LCD TVs need, but edge-lit, like, what's the point? Is it because it's cheap? Why use edge-lit or why choose edge-lit TVs? Well, if you read Arting's most recent article about longevity, we know the drawbacks of edge-lit TVs. Apparently, they just don't last as long because the heat is disproportionately along the bottom of the TV or wherever that edge is, and that heat wears out the parts, so ultimately it has a shorter life. But then why get an edge-lit TV? Packaging, specifically, it's because it's so thin. Yes, edge-lit TVs are TVs that are thinner than any other TV type because of the way it's designed. On the edge, where the brightness is all along one edge of the TV, it allows the TV to be super thin. So specifically, TVs like the Frame by Samsung and Hisense's Canvas both use edge-lit technology so they can be super thin. So this gets to you as a consumer. If you are choosing a TV that has to be thin, it's going to be art, you're going to hang it on the wall like the Frame or the Canvas, know that it's edge-lit for that reason, but also know that if you leave it on too brightly, right, you pushing a dynamic mode or vivid mode, you're going to shorten the life of that TV because it's not designed to be so bright or handle that heat from the brightness. And if thinness isn't important to you, but durability is, I'd avoid the edge-lit TV. But because you know what it is, what if you want a TV for its packaging? Super thin, super beautiful. Well, the Frame, Canvas, right? Both TVs, they're not cheap. So a lot of you are saying, wait, I thought edge-lit TVs are cheaper. See the price, right? Now the Samsung 65-inch Frame is $1999, right? Currently almost $2,000, and the Hisense Canvas is around $1299. By Black Friday, significantly cheaper, but regardless, they are not inexpensive. But they are thin. So conclusion, edge-lit TVs. Why get it? Because you need it to be thin, you're getting the Frame, or you're getting canvas, and then know that don't push these TVs hard. Don't get it for watching bright sports or anything like that. If you're looking for bright TV, right, you need to be bright because you're in a bright room. Avoid edge lit. So let's get to the TV types that I think is the most value, meaning it's not as thin, but brightness and durability is there. That's the direct lit TV. Less expensive than edge lit, probably thicker, yet more durable and just as bright, if not brighter. So the TVs to look at when saving money then is the 55-inch Fire TV or the 75-inch Toshiba Fire TV for $469. These are inexpensive TVs without the frills, basic, direct lit, bright enough, and they're going to last longer than edge lit TVs. But what about this thing called QLED or quantum dot in the backlight system? Like, isn't QLED special? So let's clear things up a bit. QLED is an additional layer of technology that a lot of TV makers add on top of their direct lit technology for the LCD TV. So QLED TVs are LCD TVs, and the Q stands for quantum dot, and the term QLED was pushed by Samsung as a brand, but ultimately what they're doing is they're mixing quantum dots in the backlight to make it, well, to make colors more saturated. It pops a little bit. Effectively, the TV image quality is a little bit better because of quantum dots in the backlight or QLED. And these QLED TVs that are also direct lit, slightly more expensive, but not too expensive, I would suggest you take a look at the Hisense QD-7 65-inch for $549 or the Sony Bravia 3 at $799 for a 65-inch. And I know you're thinking, wait, $799? Does that get me into mini-LED territory, like full array local dimming? What's all that about? So here we have value proposition, right? So first, quantum dots, I think, doesn't make a huge difference. If you're going to raise your budget a little bit, you might as well add full array local dimming zones, because with that, you're going to get quantum dot backlighting anyway, right? So skip the TVs that's only quantum dot and direct lit. Either save money and get the direct lit that we suggested earlier, the Insignia, or add a few $100s and get a quantum dot or QLED with full array local dimming. 2 here last year, amazing. The TCL Q7 has full array local dimming zones, as well as the Sony X90L full array local dimming zones. Both have some variation of quantum dot colors to make it rich and saturated. But you're asking me, wait, so what's full array local dimming zone? Okay, so you guys understand direct lit, right? Direct lit has LEDs right behind the LCD that directly lights up the LCD, making it brighter, easier to see. Full array local dimming zones, it controls the individual brightness in sections of that backlight. So direct lit, just bright, but there's no subtlety, right? Everything feels just very two-dimensional. The grays don't get dark enough, and the bright areas don't get bright enough. It just feels very bright all around. That's direct lit, traditional LCD TVs. But if you want darker shadows, blacker blacks, and then the brighter areas are a little bit brighter, right? HDR, high dynamic range, and this is why you need local dimming zones. TVs with local dimming zones are able to present higher dynamic range, meaning the dark areas are even darker and the brighter areas are even brighter. That range is the higher dynamic range, and to get that impact, the HDR impact I always talk about, you need full array local dimming zones. And what it does is, full array local dimming, individual parts of the screen will be a little bit brighter or a little bit darker, right? But there may be segments of 64 zones, a few hundred, maybe 1 to 2,000 zones. The more zones, the more effective it is in controlling that brightness and darkness, right? So that's full array local dimming zones. And last year, the Q7 and the X90L really impressed me with their full array local dimming zones. Now, they don't have mini LED, that comes up next, but they do have full array local dimming zones that worked very well for them, but that was last year. This year, for a similar price, you can get full array local dimming and mini LED. So you're asking, okay, you know what full array local dimming is, right? You get the brights a little bit brighter, you get the darks a little bit darker, little zones that control the brightness. Mini LED does 2 more things. 1, it's more efficient, meaning you can get brighter using less energy, and 2, you could control it even further. The mini LEDs themselves also can be controlled, their brightness, just a little bit. So between the full array local dimming zones and the mini LED brightness control, Together, the TV has even better contrast. So now we're at the peak of LCD TV technology. The best LCD TVs have full array local dimming zones, quantum dot in the backlight, and mini LEDs. All three. The good news is if you get a mini LED TV, right, an LCD TV with a mini LED backlight, it has the full array local dimming and the quantum dot. So when you shop mini LED, you're going to get everything. The only thing is it won't be as thin as edge lit. That's why the edge lit TVs, the frame, the canvas, they are their own thing and they're not inexpensive. But if you want image quality, you're bumping up to mini LED with full array local dimming zones. And the good news is this year we have 4 mini LED TVs between $500 and $1,000. Beginning with the Hisense U6N, then you have the U7N, then the TCL QM7. I reviewed the Hisense U8N, also phenomenal, looks awesome. Slight differences, check out my review up here and see what I think about them when they're compared. You have the super expensive Bravia 9, easily the flagship among all mini LEDs, also reviewed up here. Love that TV, easily my favorite mini LED ever. And there are others, like Samsung has the QN90D and the QN900D 8K TV, very affordable at $500 and change for a 65-inch, or save more money and get a 55-inch. This is where I think image quality, especially in HDR, starts. Now, if you need an 85-inch mini LED TV, last year's Samsung QN85C, currently $1999, a phenomenal price for a great TV. That TV is just awesome for that price. It's last year's TV. It's going to sell out quickly, definitely before Black Friday. So if you need an 85-inch TV, highest quality possible for under $2,000, I highly recommend the QN85C for your consideration. Now, it's all great. You're thinking, okay, then where does OLED come in, right? Because these mini LEDs, as you go up the price point, it begins to cost the same as OLED TVs. What should you choose? A mini LED TV or similarly priced OLED TV, for example, the Bravia 9, close to $3,000. This is the price range of quality OLED TVs as well. When do you choose a mini LED TV and when do you choose OLED? So let's talk generalities, because I know there are slight exceptions, but these generalities hold true for both TV technologies. Stick with mini LED TVs if you need brightness and size for value. So if you want the best or the brightest 85-inch TV at the best budget, doesn't get better than a mini LED TV, right? The best this year, Bravia 9. The best mini LED TV, in my opinion, 85 inches, Bravia 9, $5,000, close to there. But then the best OLED at 83 inches is the LG G4. That's $6,000, over $6,000, right? It's over $1,000 difference. You see? You're getting an 85-inch size, super bright, amazing image quality, but it's a bit cheaper. And so you're saying, okay, forget price. Let's say price is no object. What are the image quality differences between a good mini LED TV and a good OLED TV? So let's start with the core differences. LCD TVs in general, whether it's mini LED or direct lit or edge lit, off angle, right? You're here, the TV's over here, you're going to look at an angle. Off-angle viewing of an LCD TV is simply not as good. It's going to be a little bit desaturated, right? The colors will start to drop as you get off more angle, right? In front, it looks phenomenal, indistinguishable, I would argue, right? When you're looking at an LCD TV and an OLED TV, and they're both right in front of you, they look very similar. But when you move off to an angle, let's say a giant couch, you're sitting on the side, then you'll notice, wait a minute, that mini LED is no longer as saturated. The color loses a bit of that pop. Contrast drops a little bit, right? There's some blooming that's noticeable. That is the flaw of the LCD TV technology. You cannot overcome that. But if you're okay sitting in front of the TV and you're never going to leave more than 15 degrees off angle, you should be okay, but OLED doesn't have that issue. The second thing is, OLED TVs, to get as bright as a mini LED, you're paying a lot. So the least expensive OLED, let's say the B3, B4, LG's B3 or LG B4 or the Sony A80L, they don't get as bright as a mini LED TV for a similar price. So if you need super bright because you're watching sports, you're in a bright room, mini LED TVs, dollar for dollar, will be brighter until you start going up the price tier to flagship OLED TVs. Now they're very close, if not even brighter. Specifically the LG G4, flagship LG OLED this year with MLA technology is the brightest OLED you can get, but not just OLED. It's the brightest TV compared to MiniLED TVs. And so let's go into the different OLED TV technologies, right? Let's say you're into OLED. You want that infinite contrast. You're off angle. You want the best image because you're at all angles, right? You're the kitchen, off angle, whatever. Okay, beginning with the basic OLED TV that LG developed, W-OLED. This was the first OLED technology way back when, and it's also the least expensive. This year's LG B4 is W-OLED, and it's phenomenal. It looks great, just not as bright as many people want it to be. I think it's actually bright enough for most content. It doesn't do HDR justice, right? That high dynamic range we're talking about, its blacks are perfect, but the super bright areas of the TV, it cannot get there. For that, you upgrade to Samsung Display's technology called Quantum Dot OLED, QD-OLED. That was introduced a few years back with the S95B. Now we're in the third generation of QD-OLED with the S90D and the S95D. S90D versus the LG C4 or the Bravia 8. Bravia 8 and C4 are both W-OLED TVs, and the S90D is a QD-OLED TV, and the A95L Sony is also QD-OLED. But if you notice, there's a price difference between the top flagship QD-OLED, A95L and S95D, and the mid-tier W-OLED C4, let's say, or the Bravia 8. So QD-OLED is brighter than basic W-OLED. We complained that W-OLED might be bright enough. What gives? Well, LG added another technology to compete with QD-OLED. QD-OLED was introduced to raise that brightness. So if you need that bright OLED TV, Samsung Display did it with QD-OLED. So LG said, oh, you know what? We got to keep up with the Joneses. So they added MLA technology. MLA takes their W-OLED on the C4 and the Bravia 8 and the B4 and elevates it to make the G4 super bright. So MLA was introduced last year with the G3, but not on the 83-inch size. This year, though, G4 from the 55-inch all the way up to 83-inch size all have MLA, making it the brightest TV I think you can buy this year. So with the G4, LG introduced a super bright OLED that matches the brightness of bright mini LEDs like the Bravia 9. I would easily put up the G4 and the S95D brightness against the Bravia 9. So as far as brightness is concerned, that problem is solved for OLED fans, except you got to pay a bit, right? The G4 isn't cheap, the S95D is not cheap, but they are there and they are bright as the Bravia 9. Now the question is, okay, so here's the hard part. What should you buy? Let's start with a couple of guidelines. First, are you a gamer? If you're a gamer, you would probably get an OLED TV. Lower latency at a higher image quality together. Low latency, great contrast, great image quality, everything gamers love. Don't do anything but getting an OLED, right? So whether it's a B4, and the B4 this year is capable of 4K 120, 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, so you can game on all 4 ports this year. I would get the B4 as the affordable gaming TV in 2024 because it's OLED and they do gaming so well. If you're not a gamer, then we start with, are you on a limited budget and do you need the largest TV possible? It'll be an LCD TV, 98 inches, 85 inches, direct lit, right? You're going to get the largest available TV at the best price. Direct lit, 98-inch TV, $2,000. The TCL Q6. That just blows me away. This is total immersion because it's the same price as a 55-inch QD OLED. That's insane. It's cheaper than the S95D and it's huge. And so, right, you have to ask yourself, wow, insane image quality at 55 inches or immersiveness, 98-inch direct view. So if you are 9 or 10 feet away from your TV, it doesn't make sense to get a 55-inch TV, right? You might get more out of this TV in a bright room because it's 98 inches, and that's something that only an LCD TV could do. Now, if you're way off angle, you might go, you know, the image quality suffers a bit off angle, but hey, that's a compromise for LCD TV. At least you know what that compromise is up front. Personally, I'd go with a 90-inch TV because for me, immersiveness is everything. But if your budget is generous, cost no object, 85 inches. Of course, the LG G4 83-inch, best TV at that size. And if you really have the money, you can go 98-inch with the LG G series at the 90-inch size, like $25,000, right? OLED is the best image quality given any size, bar none. It's only when you take budget into account that you have to consider Mini-LED. And so with that in mind, what are your thoughts? What am I missing? What TV are you considering that I have not helped you choose? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stop the FOMO.